Hey up everyone, hope you're all doing well. I'm going to tell you how each champion would get on if they moved up a weight division and challenged the other champion in that weight division. Right, now that the intro's done, let's stop fucking about and get straight into it. Starting off the flyweight champion, Alexandre Pantoja, moving on up to the bantamweight division to challenge Merab. How would that shit play out? Well, a lot of you guys want to see that shit, and I kind of don't. Want me to tell you why? Because I think Merab would absolutely run through Pantoja. Why? I do think the size difference here, whenever I try and picture a flyweight moving up, I just don't think they're gonna look that big. Flyweights, I mean, they're the smallest of the smalls, you know what I mean? So when I ever think of them moving up quite up a weight division, I just think, I know Figueiredo's had a bit of success, but he has just lost his last two. I don't know, there's just something about me, and I don't know if Pantoja would be that big at 135, whereas Merab, he's quite stocky, he's quite dense, and I just seem bulldozing through Pantoja. You know, when it comes, I think the grappling exchanges would be quite fun, but Pantoja is known for gassing out. He just fights really well when he is fatigued, and one thing that Merab's known for is his stupid cardio and his work rate and his relentlessness. He'll constantly keep trying to take you down, and I feel like even if Pantoja is able to scramble out of positions or defend takedowns or whatever it may be, I think that Merab's gonna get him down and just keep on coming at him no matter what. And when it comes to the striking side of things, both of them are quite similar, where it's sloppy and scrappy, but it works for them. But even then, I feel like Merab has the better edge when it comes to striking. I feel like he's, you know, he lands cleaner shots like he did against O'Malley, was able to wobble Umar. I don't feel like you see that much with Pantoja. But regardless, I think that Merab would bulldoze through Pantoja and get a wide scorecard decision. I don't think he would finish Pantoja, but I do think he'll get a wide scorecard decision and get, like, I don't know, a 50-45, maybe a 50-44, maybe chucking a 10-8 in there. But I think ultimately that Merab would beat Pantoja. And now we move on. Merab moves on up to the 145 division to take on Volkanovski. And I tell you what, lads, I would fucking love this fight. I think this is such an interesting fight. Now, I know most people are going to say Volkanovski wins that, and I understand why, but genuinely, I think Merab could win this. Call me a fucking fat bastard for it. I don't give a shit. I think there's a good chance that Merab could win this. Now, we will never get this fight because Merab said he would rather than fight Volkanovski. He doesn't want to fight Volkanovski whatsoever, which is kind of a shame because I'd actually love to see that fight. Now, when it comes to the striking side of things, yeah, Volkanovski's on a different level, but I do feel like Merab moving up, I do think he'll be able to land some shots on Volkanovski because of a takedown threat, because he'll try and spam takedowns, and I feel like that would open up some opportunities on the feet for Merab. I'm not going to act like he would strike Volkanovski in any sort of fucking world, but I do think he would have some success on the feet. But I do also think Volkanovski's leg kicks could play a massive part in this one. I don't feel like we see many people throw a load of leg kicks at Merab, but I feel like Volk could expose that side of Merab and have a lot of success when it comes to the leg kicks. And obviously we know that Volk also has great cardio, and he can also great at scrambling, great takedown defense. But I just feel like if Merab would constantly pressure and spam, he could definitely take a decision. But ultimately, I do think I would go with Volkanovski by quite a contested, close decision. I think Merab will make it very competitive, just knowing how he is, knowing that he doesn't ever fucking stop. I do feel like neither man would really gas in this. I don't feel like, you know, Volk's not a massive 145er either, in my opinion. He's quite compact in a sense. He's quite wide because he's quite smaller. But even so, I don't think it'll be, you'd see a massive, I don't feel like, whoa, that's a gigantic difference in size or anything like that. But I do think Merab could have some success. But I do feel like when it is standing, Volkanovski would know to actually make use of that time, rather than like when you saw against Kai Kara France against Pantoja recently, how when he was standing, he wasn't really doing anything, even though that was the perfect moment for him to do something because he was so out of depth when it came to the grappling. And I do feel like Volkanovski will be able to make use of it and actually do something with his striking. And I do think he would close out a very contested decision, but I could see this one going both ways. But I would go with Volkanovski by, I don't know, 48-47 decision. Right, now we get to one where I think we all know the answer for this one. Volkanovski moves on up to 155 to take on Ilia Topuria. The rematch we don't want to see because we don't want to see Volk get chinned again. And let's be honest, he's getting chinned again, guys. I don't think Volkanovski wins at 155. He didn't win at 145. And I feel like even on a full camp, without getting knocked out, you know, a few months prior, like it was the context going into the first Ilia fight. Regardless of all of that, I still think Ilia would find that chin and Volk would be absolutely fucked. Unfortunately, do I think he would have more success? Nah, I still think Ilia would find that chin. In fact, I think he would find it quicker than he did the first time around. I think we all know this one. I haven't got to go too in depth. We've seen it before. I don't think it'll be too much different in the second time around, but I think Ilia Topuria would knock out Volkanovski. First round, maybe second round. Unfortunately, Volkanovski's got to pay a visit to the Shadow Realm again. Now, next up, we have an absolute banger. Ilia Topuria, the lightweight champion, recently crowned lightweight champion, moves on up to the welterweight division for a fight against JDM. That would be unreal, orgasmic stuff. Don't tell me that wouldn't give you a fucking hard on, because it would. Oh my god, the boxing exchanges and everything. Now, I do feel like size definitely will play a part here, given that Ilia used to be at 145. Making the jump to 170 is fucking massive. He's not a tall guy as it is. He looks quite fucking stocky and built out for 155, but add on an extra 15 pounds. I'll be very interested to see how it plays out. But styles alone, man, this would be so fun. I do think Ilia would try mixing his grappling against someone like JDM. We saw him use it a bit very early on against Max Holloway, probably just to give Max something to think about. I think he would try and test against JDM as well. But when it comes to this fight, oh, mate, JDM does have some slick. They both have slick boxing. I would argue that JDM has slicker boxing, but Ilia has... Man, Ilia's better at just putting people away, you know? And I do feel like if Ilia found that chin of JDM, he would be able to put him away. But at the exact same time, I could see it playing out where maybe Ilia gasses out, you know, quite early on, because he's got all this extra muscle on him. He's a bit more stocky, and JDM's not gone out yet. Maybe he's weathered the storm of the first, maybe 2 rounds, and then he takes it. If I had to go with this one, I would go with like a 49-46 for JDM, but I could also definitely see a universe where Ilia chins JDM. But I just think the styles clash I think JDM would be one of the harder fights for Ilia Topuria. If this was someone else, like, I would actually favor Ilia against someone like Islam Makhachev, which is crazy to think about, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Ian Gary, someone along those lines, Sean Brady. But when it comes to JDM, who's got very good hands, mixes it really well to head and body, does have a bit of a pop behind his punches as well, has some good takedown defense, can go 5 rounds at a good pace. I do think that's quite hard for Ilia Topuria at 170, so I would go with a 49-46 decision for JDM, but I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if Ilia was able to find the chin and put out JDM. But I don't know, I'll just put the favors on JDM for this one to win by decision. Guys, it's not getting any easier. Now we've got JDM moving up to 185 to take on Dricus du Plessis, who's a big boy. He is a big chunky fucking guy. He's a dense guy, you know what I mean? So I'll be very interested in this. I could see a round where JDM is able to find the chin of DDP. I'm going to be completely honest, but ultimately, I just think DDP is way too big. He's fucking massive for 185. You know what I mean? It's like JDM's, I think he's quite short as well. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but I do think he's quite short, on the shorter side. But ultimately, I just think JDM will be able to overwhelm him with his unorthodox, very versatile, very well-rounded, can go at a stupid pace. But at the same time, I could see a way where JDM finds a chin of thingy. He's very precise. I don't think people realize how precise JDM is. You know, you got someone like Sean Strickland who just tries to jab, teep, jab, teep. JDM, he's trying to hurt you really fucking badly, you know, and I feel like he would be able to hurt Dricus du Plessis. I feel like Dricus was actually kind of maybe struggled to land clean on JDM as well. The more I'm thinking about this, the more I'm starting to side with JDM a bit more, but I do think this would be a very competitive fight. I think the defensive grappling from JDM would be lovely. I do think Dricus will be able to get him down at times as well and hold him down for a long period of time. I think I'm going to go with Dricus, but I could see this being a very close decision, a very competitive fight. It would be a fucking banger. I'm going to say Dricus by 48-47 decision. I do think JDM will be able to hold his own. I don't think adding on too much weight would really, I don't think it would have a negative impact on him necessarily. But yeah, I do think Dricus will be able to take this one, mainly because he's just so good at mixing it all in and being so unorthodox. But yeah, I think he'll be able, and he's a big shithouse powerhouse as well. So I'm going to go with Dricus by a competitive decision for this one. Next up, we have another interesting one. DDP goes to 205 and challenges Magomed Ankalaev. And I'm going to tell you what, I fucking love this one. I think this will be absolutely brilliant. And you know what? This will be easier. I feel like this will be easier to say. I actually feel like Dricus would win this. Call me fucking crazy. Call me crazy. I think Dricus could fucking win this one. Now, I'll be more confident in picking Dricus after I see how he gets on possibly his defensive grappling against Khamzat Chimaev, because we do know that Ankalaev does have some good defensive grappling. I would be very interested. I feel like the unorthodox would really be a fuckery for Magomed Ankalaev. I really do. And Magomed Ankalaev, his fight IQ, I'm still not sold on it. Yes, he looked better against Alex Pereira, but even then, he just did what he should do and made it well-rounded against Alex Pereira, clinching with him and whatnot. I don't think you're going to have as much success in the clinch like he did against Alex Pereira that you're going to have against Dricus du Plessis. I think Dricus will be able to have a lot of success in the clinch himself and be able to defend that clinch game against Ankalaev. When it comes to the striking, I think he could have a lot of success against Ankalaev. Again, I think this is going to be competitive as well, but ultimately, I think Dricus is a big guy. I don't think the jump from 185 to 205 will be a big problem for him. I think he was, you know, have a heavy background on rugby as well. So I think Dricus will be able to get this done. Call me a madman, but I do think Dricus will be able to get the job done against Magomed Ankalaev. When I watch Ankalaev, I think he's good, but nothing about, I think he's very talented, but nothing's truly wowed me with him in my opinion. So I think Dricus will be able to get it done against Ankalaev. People might not like that one, but genuinely, I think Dricus could be able to get it done against the guy. I'm going to say, like, again, a close decision for Dricus du Plessis, a 48-47. Maybe there's some shouts of a robbery as well. I think this will be very, very fucking close. And now we get to the final one. Light heavyweight to heavyweight, because of course heavyweight can't go up anymore. So light heavyweight to heavyweight, Magomed Ankalaev versus Tom Aspinall. I think this will be fucking brilliant, but for sheer size difference, I think Tom Aspinall would run through Magomed Ankalaev. I think he would find the chin of Ankalaev. I actually think maybe Tom would... I would actually love to see a grappling exchange between these two. I'd find that quite fascinating, but ultimately, I just think he would find the chin of Ankalaev. I think also knowing that Ankalaev... I mean, he did better at checking the leg kicks against Pereira, but I think Aspinall would chuck in a few leg kicks just to see the reaction he would get, but I just think the power difference is too much. Aspinall's a big fucking guy, a very fucking fast guy, genetically very good. He's well-rounded. I think that Tom Aspinall would be able to find the chin. However, I do think if this played out quite long, the longer the fight goes on, maybe I would favor Ankalaev a bit more, but ultimately, I think that Aspinall finds that chin very early on and gets him out of there in the first, maybe second round if Ankalaev is really switched on. But yeah, I think Aspinall will be able to find the chin of Ankalaev and get him out of there. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with some of my, you know, how I think the fights would go? Let me know in the comments. This is hypothetical, so don't start crying and say, he would definitely do this, he would definitely do that. It's fucking hypothetical at the end of the day, guys. I haven't got time for fucking Karens. But let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.